This may be the most common trouble that I see students get into is conducting a search in the library and getting way too many results and not knowing how to navigate that situation, how to find their way amongst such an overload of available information. So in this video, I'm just going to show you a couple of things to consider if you find yourself in this situation. And then at the end, I'll kind of give a nod to a few other approaches that you might take or things that you might come into the library and ask us about. So my example here is searching for the keyword cryptocurrency. It seems on the surface like this is going to be a really sort of tight and focused research topic, but you can see here we got 26,000 results in libraries worldwide that match this keyword search in some way. Now, of course, that's far too many resources for anybody to ever go through. So it means that we have to find some way of narrowing this down. The first and most simple way of narrowing the focus of your search is to use the library's AND search command that will just insist that multiple words be found within each search result. So an example here might be to look for cryptocurrency and crime. So of those 26,000 results that we got for cryptocurrency, now we're going to look within them for records that also mention the word crime. So that results in a significant reduction of the number of results we've gotten. There's still 1,500 results, which is still a lot, but this shows that we're moving in the right direction. You can continue this pattern, right? So if you want to reduce it further, you can add things like time periods, geographic regions like I have here, adding Europe. You can add different demographic factors. You can add other keywords or concept. Basically, the more that you expand on this using the AND search, the fewer the number of results you're going to get. So adding the geographic descriptor Europe, now we get 87 results that are found in the library. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that this being a keyword search, it's only looking for occurrences of the word Europe. So this isn't expanding on that concept in any way. It's not including all of the countries of Europe or all the regions of Europe. It's just looking for occurrences of that word. So if there's a specific nation or a specific region that you wanted to bring into this search, you would have to use those words explicitly to capture those things. While we're thinking about the way that it handles concepts in a search system like this, another thing to keep in mind is about how near or distant your search concepts are. All right. So in this case here, we've got cryptocurrency and crime. Those are relatively near concepts, I would say. There's a sort of logic that draws a connection between the two concepts, so I would call them relatively near. Now, that means that is going to result in still a relatively large set of results like we have here. 1,500 results is still a lot because there's lots of sources that mention both of these things because they're near concepts to one another. But if we try something that is, say, conceptually distant from cryptocurrencies, so something like raspberries, right? So unless there's something that I'm not foreseeing, some connection between these two things, these are distant concepts. And so what's going to happen here is we're going to really narrow our search very significantly because these concepts are so distant. There's going to be very few sources that mention both of these things. We're using the same strategy here, using the word and, cryptocurrency and some other concept. But when it was a concept that was near to cryptocurrency, we got a lot of results. And when it's a concept that's distant from cryptocurrency, we get very few results or potentially zero. So in this case, we got 2. So that's something to keep in mind as you're trying to finesse your search and work with different search terms, is that if you're adding conceptually distant terms, you're going to get very few results. And if you add conceptually similar or conceptually near terms, you're still going to get a lot of results. And that's a way that you can sort of intelligently adjust your search to achieve the result that you want. One more direct technique that you can use to narrow and refine your search is to specify where within the record you'd like the system to find your words. So here with this search, we're looking for cryptocurrency and crime. anywhere in the record. So it could be part of the title, the author's names, the name of a journal, name of a publisher, anywhere in the summary, anywhere in the subject headings or descriptors, anywhere in the description within the record. If it finds those terms, it's going to return it. Now, we can force it to find those words in specific places. A really common one is to search only within the title. The idea behind this is that it's going to make things especially relevant, because if the author has decided to include these terms right in the title of their work, then it means that these are especially relevant, and the source itself is very much about these concepts. So here we can take our 1,500 results down to 106 using the very same search terms, but insisting that those search terms be found within the title. So this is another really effective way of still examining the same keywords, the same concepts, but reducing the number of sources that you need to consider by only searching for those words within the title of the work. So just very quickly to give a nod to some other approaches that you might use to narrow and refine a search that's much too broad and getting too many results. As I mentioned, you can consider limiting by geographic region, by historical context, by a particular demographic. You can use the various search limiters on the left-hand side of the screen to limit by format or publication year or other search refinements that we have available there. That can sort of whittle down your results set to be something more meaningful. I don't have time to go into all the details about vertical searching, but this is an approach where you can choose one particular source, like a journal or a particular website or a particular subject area within the library, and search for your terms only there, further kind of limiting the results that you see. And another one of my favorites is to use citation searching. So using the citations and references of a source that you found that's highly relevant to your topic, using those references to expand on your search. So again, reducing the number of different sources that we need to consider so that we're not so overwhelmed by the amount of information that we're looking at. If you're interested in learning more about these or other search strategies, you might consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the bell icon to get notified of new videos. Also, consider getting in touch with us in the library if you want to talk about your research or get some expert advice from our staff. So hopefully we'll see you around the library. Have a great day.